U.S. President Donald Trump's harsh words for Canada's Prime Minister after the Group of Seven, G7, summit aimed to avoid a show of weakness ahead of his summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong, a top advisor said on Sunday. POTUS, the President of the United States, is not going to let a Canadian Prime Minister push him, POTUS around. On the eve of this, economic advisor Larry Kudlow said on CNN's State of the Union. He is not going to permit any show of weakness on the trip to negotiate with North Korea. Nor should he. Trump arrived in Singapore on Sunday for the summit, with Pyongyang's nuclear arsenal at the top of the agenda. The U.S. president has called it a one-time shot at peace. Before leaving Canada for the summit the previous day, the U.S. president took to Twitter to describe G7 host Justin Trudeau as very dishonest and weak. Trump said he had instructed U.S. representatives not to endorse the joint communiqué issued at the end of the summit. The U.S. president seemed particularly incensed by Trudeau's comments in a news conference criticizing Trump's decision to invoke national security to justify U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminium imports. That decision was kind of insulting to Canadian veterans who had stood by their U.S. allies in conflicts dating back to the First World War, Trudeau said. Canadians are polite and reasonable, but we will also not be pushed around, the Prime Minister said. During his appearance on CNN, Kudlow also attacked Trudeau, claiming, "He really kind of stabbed us in the back. We were very close to making a deal with Canada on NAFTA, bilaterally perhaps, and then we leave and Trudeau pulls this sophomoric, political stunt for domestic consumption. Trudeau made an error. He should take it back. He should pull back on his statements." For many in Europe, the question is now about how best to preserve any kind of multilateral cooperation. Dealing with Trump's whims and last-minute changes of mind has proven a procedural nightmare, political analysts said. How is it possible to work this way if once you have agreed to something, 2 hours later the guy decides he doesn't agree with what he agreed with? Said François Heisbourg, a former French presidential national security advisor. Is there any space for a multilateral order under these circumstances? But there were signs, among otherwise frustrated European leaders, that they see Trump and his America First agenda as an aberration and not necessarily as expressive of a new reality that will never change. French President Emmanuel Macron, who among all European leaders arguably enjoys the strongest personal rapport with Trump, did not hesitate to voice his disappointment and displeasure at several moments the summit. But he also emphasized his belief that Trump's vision of America was at odds with American values. President Trump saw that he had a united front before him, Macron said via Twitter. To find itself isolated in a concert of nations is contrary to American history. Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May preferred tact to confrontation, even after Trump allies allegedly told the Telegraph newspaper that the U.S. president had grown weary of May's schoolmistress tone and attention to details. Asked on Saturday evening by the press whether she liked working with him, May responded, "We have a very good relationship with President Trump." May did, however, allow that she and Trump had a very frank discussion about trade. May is not only hoping that Trump lift new tariffs on European aluminium and steel, but that he will promise a favorable pro-Brexit trade deal with the United Kingdom after it leaves the European bloc.